Hi, I'm Desiree, and I'm a follower of Jesus that's happily married and homeschooling our three boys on our homestead in North Carolina. And oh, did I mention I'm a work-at-home mom too? I am continuously on the journey of just living out my life for the glory of God and figuring out, what that looks like exactly. And on this podcast, we talk about our faith in God, we talk about homemaking, homeschooling, homesteading, all those sorts of things. So here's to open conversations about how that is playing out for me to give you some company as you cook and clean and as you take those drives, going to run some errands, and even some education on things that I've learned along the way. That way I can do my best to give you any bit of a jump start or maybe even just another perspective. So let's go ahead and skip the small talk and jump right in. So today we are talking about choosing not to celebrate holidays and what we do instead. So I kind of broke this up in a few different sections. So I wanted to give you like a little bit of a background about me and like how I grew up personally. So I grew up celebrating holidays, all of them, from St. Patrick's Day to Thanksgiving and Christmas, all of it. There was usually some sort of dress up um, that was just fun. It was fun to dress up on all green or like making my own costume with my mom. So it always felt like some family bonding time. And it even meant like getting together with community, with a bunch of family and friends and a big gathering. And it just felt like such a welcome home party in a way. Um, I'm definitely the personality type that enjoys being with other people. Um, my husband is very similar too. And so with that, um, growing up, celebrating holidays does hold special memories for me. And when I met my now husband, he grew up actually to where he didn't celebrate holidays. And he shared with me why. And really, when my husband and I met, God really went through this journey with us of opening our eyes and growing us and helping us to soften our hearts and actually follow Jesus instead of our own sinful desires. And so, with that, the conversation of holidays came up. So now we don't celebrate any of your traditional holidays really. There's a couple which I'll get to in a minute, but it's not like your typical like Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas. It's none of that. We don't celebrate any of those personally. And so I just want to kind of share like why we stopped celebrating these and like not only just that, but some things for you to consider for your own family traditions, like some things that we do instead. And yeah, like why we stopped doing that. So I kind of broke this down for like how the holidays kind of come about in the year. And I'll get to that in a moment. But the big overall reason we stopped celebrating holidays is because these holidays were feeding into our own sinful desires. They were like camouflage as, oh, we're celebrating God, but really we're not. We're celebrating buying things, consumerism. We're celebrating evil. We're celebrating doing what we want. We're celebrating um idolizing other things besides God. And that was convicting for us. This lands on the personal convictions area. I recently was actually talking with my pastor, and I'll go in depth on this on another episode, but pretty much he had shared with me about like the concept of like triage. Like think of triage. And it was like there's tier one issues, tier two, and tier three. And you really want to mostly focus on the tier one. And then like as you grow, you focus on tier two and tier three. And so like tier one was like core things. Like if you don't believe these things, you're not a Christian. Like um that Jesus died for our sins and was resurrected. Um, you know, God is three persons. Um, the flood, like things that are like very obvious. And then tier two was like denominational issues. So this would be like, oh, maybe you're non-denominational church is what you go to, or you identify as a Baptist or a Presbyterian, or like just different things like this. And then three would be personal convictions. And this does go into that personal convictions category. And I'm glad that like God has worked on us and continuing to work on us. And you'll see like some things have changed a little bit along the way as I explain these. So I want to start off with the few that we do celebrate. We do celebrate New Year's. We do celebrate Memorial Day and Independence Day. Um, and we do like if somebody comes up to us and says like Happy Easter, we'll say Happy Resurrection Day. Um, but we don't celebrate like Easter as far as like bunny rabbits and Easter egg hunts. We don't do that. I went a little out of order there, but it just came up and I forgot that one actually. So I figured I'd just go ahead and mention that. With us celebrating those holidays like New Year's, Memorial Day, Independence Day, I'll usually include like some sort of homeschool activity. Sometimes these will be things that we've got from like Preschool Press does some that we've collected, like homeschool curriculum, like unit studies for these, like Memorial Day, Independence Day specifically. And I've also made different ones, especially for like, which I'll explain more later, especially for holidays that we are not even holidays, but things that we do celebrate, which we celebrate biblical feasts. So, like, I've created homeschool unit studies for us to enjoy as a family together. And that'll be things covering like Feast of Tabernacles and Passover, stuff like that. So, like, those are like holidays or biblical feasts. That's what we celebrate. We will add in, right now, we've just been doing Passover and the Feast of Tabernacles. And I've made, like I said, homeschool crafts to cover that. And if you want to check out any of the homeschool unit studies I make, come check out my Patreon page. And I have the link for that in the show notes. And you guys can check that out and enjoy all my homeschool unit studies that I create and share with all of you guys to enjoy as well. And so, pretty much with the whole, like, oh, these are the holidays that we celebrate, I want to celebrate more of the biblical feasts. I just I just have to take some time to work out how that looks and understanding them and what we want to do for them. And so far, that has meant Passover and Feast of Tabernacles are the biblical feasts that we celebrate. But like I said, we'll add in more. So that's what we do celebrate. So let's go through what we don't celebrate. So I did my best to go in order here. So Martin Luther King Jr. Day. We do not focus on this. Um, we focus on equality and diversity in general as much as we can, but we don't focus on color. We focus on we are all humans, and there are obviously some horrendous evil things that have happened. There are all the different ethnicities in our world, and it's sad. It's sad. And we have to think about age appropriate things when it comes to this. And so right now we have a 6-year-old, a 3-year-old, and an almost 2-year-old. And we have not seen necessarily many discussions or any sort of celebration as necessary. Like, and I don't know, I just, something rubs me wrong about celebrating that day, given that, like, how do I word this correctly, you know? It's kind of like the whole Black Lives Matter movement, or like even the N word, like trying to like using it as like a friendly way, like the whole of I'm gonna take something bad and try to make it good, but really you're just focusing on the issue, when if you didn't focus on it at all, then it wouldn't really be an issue. I hope that makes sense. So that's kind of like my logic on it. We will discuss more with this. Like sometimes there have been times that like our kids have asked like, "Oh, why do they look like that?" And they're, asking why they look differently. Like, "Oh, they're this ethnicity. We all have different skin tone colors." And that's about it. And we move on. So that's Martin Luther King Jr., why we don't celebrate that day per se. Next would be Valentine's Day. Uh, we make a point to show our love on a regular basis, not a Hallmark holiday, as a lot of people would say. Um, we don't really make a point to, oh, it's Valentine's Day, so I need to go and buy something. Birthdays, I guess I should have mentioned this. Birthdays, I will say, we do celebrate birthdays. So that could be kind of like a holiday that we do celebrate. But Valentine's Day, I I see it as another like, oh, let's go be consumeristic. Like, let's go and buy things. And I don't like that vibe. So we don't really celebrate that. We just make a point, like I said, to show our love on a regular basis, to have weekly family days and weekly date nights. During that time, it's like spring, so we'll do like some spring decor. So it's usually like flowers, stuff like that. St. Patrick's Day, we skip it. Um, yeah, it's just another day. And, we might in general do like whatever day we feel like it, a spring scavenger hunt, or like I mentioned, we do spring decor in our home, but that would be it. Easter, I mentioned already. We skip that also. We'll say like Happy Resurrection Day, and that would be about it. Another Play-Doh bin. You found a Play-Doh bin. Okay. I will come and take care of that in a little bit. Thank you. There's some Play-Doh. Okay. I'll take care of it. Thank you. Okay. Thanks, Jace. You can shut the door. You can shut the door. I'll be out shortly. Hey, what did Mama say? Listen the first time. Listen the first time. Listen the first time. Thank you. Right now, the kiddos are having some independent playtime. And, well, the younger two are sleeping. The older one's having some independent playtime. And during that time, sometimes he will come in, and if he needs to hand me something, that's fine, which he handed me some Play-Doh that he found, so that's good. But there's also, reminding this is independent playtime. This is time where we have some time to ourselves. This is time, is that something, he was trying to tell me something else, and it's like, this is not the time to explain that to me. And I'll have a whole nother episode if I haven't already. I don't think I have. I think I've lightly touched on the concept of independent playtime, but I'll do a whole nother episode on that too. And it's just kind of reminding him that, hey, you need to listen the first time. This is not, unless if it's something like an emergency, something really important, that doesn't need to be said during independent playtime. So that's the concept of that. Okay, where were we? So then we kind of move into like summer, and that's kind of when like there's like Independence Day, Memorial Day. So like we do celebrate those. Like I said, we'll do some homeschool activity. Maybe we'll go and visit some sort of, historical place nearby. In North Carolina, there's quite a bit of historical places around, which is really cool. We might watch something on YouTube too. Like we'll do a variety of things for sure. We'll do some like summer decor in general. And then Halloween, we skip it, but we do pray. We pray about it. Like we pray for the evil that goes on during that day. We don't believe in trunk or treats. There's nothing around that one. Like I did enjoy celebrating it when I was younger, but that one was the first one to go because it was just so obvious that this is just celebrating evil. There's nothing good to this. So I do miss the concept of, dress up. But what we do instead is we dress up. We have dress up days randomly throughout the year. Maybe we go like to the museum and they have some dress up stuff, or, we have some dress up stuff here and like they'll put on like a firefighter hat, like stuff like that. And that is like fall time. So we're doing like fall scavenger hunts and mushroom hunting and, we'll grow and cook pumpkins and other fall fruits and vegetables. We do fall decor in our house, stuff like that. Thanksgiving, we don't celebrate that one. We do Feast of Tabernacles instead. I don't, it tends to be around the same time and it's similar in the sense of like there's a feast. So that's why I say instead, even though like Feast of Tabernacles, I'll do an episode on, hey, nope, hey, I'll come check on him. Okay, I'm back. I had to go and check on my middle kiddo because Jace did mention that he said that he wasn't feeling well. So I went and checked on him. But I'm back now. So we were talking about Thanksgiving Feast of Tabernacles. So yeah, we don't celebrate Thanksgiving. It's something behind like the concept of, yes, I'm thankful for our country, but I'm not very happy about how things went down when it was like, oh yeah, we're having a feast to celebrate that, we're agreed, what's the right word I'm looking for? Like we're good, we're on the same page, we're not fighting, and then, the Americans turned around and took over all the land from the Native Americans. And I didn't. I don't like that. I don't think that's something to really celebrate. Yeah, so we don't. If a friend invites us, we will go, like to their home for like, a meal. And at first we didn't. At first we felt convicted by that, but like now we will. Um, that's something that, like I said, just more growing has been done through, like God through us is growing us. And yeah, like it's fall, so like I mentioned, we also do, the fall scavenger hunts, the mushroom hunting, fall decor, stuff like that. Christmas, we skip it also. Instead, like I will say, if like a friend, once again, if they invite us, we will go and enjoy the time together, but we don't participate in like Christmas activities like Santa. Our kids know that there's no such thing as Santa. We don't participate in what else? Presents during that time. We don't just like none of that stuff. We will go and see like a light show, but not like on Christmas Day, just in general, because it's cool to see things decorated like crazy with lights, like of course. Um, but on Christmas, yeah, we skip it. We rest and we reflect over the year and we reset. We start planning for the next year. We get things like decluttered and organized in the home. My husband's working less during the winter, so like we'll have time to tag team things. Maybe we'll do a winter scavenger hunt at some point. We have winter decor in the house, but it's not like for Christmas by any means. So yeah, that's pretty much the gist of what holidays we choose not to celebrate, what we do instead. And I hope that that can just give you some perspective and permission if you want to do things differently for your family traditions. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. If you liked it, please leave a rating and review. That really helps just keep me going, helps motivate me, and it helps other people find the podcast too. And I just really appreciate you taking some time out of your day to spend with me, and I look forward to the next time.